Life is an incredible archive of stories. If you do it right, or even if you do it wrong, just living long enough will supply you with a treasure trove of memorable adventures. The following memories take place over many decades, so settle in with a cold one and let me tell you a story. I've often said that every action you take affects every action that follows. Well, that couldn't have been more true than it was the day my buddy asked me to take him to a location shoot for a television show. His car was in the shop, and he had been hired as an extra for the day. Extras are the people you see walking behind the main characters, or sitting at other tables in a restaurant. He really didn't want to cancel it because it was good money. Fortunately, my schedule for the day was flexible, so we piled into my black Pulsar and drove over to the location shoot. I parked in the designated crew parking area, at which point he got out and walked over to the production company to report in. I was about to leave when a duplicate of my car pulled in right next to me. A very cute blonde exited the car. The coincidence of our cars being identical twins was a good enough reason to start a conversation with her. As we talked about the car, the conversation eventually led to us talking about each other. It turned out she was a college student, occasionally a movie and television extra, and a Los Angeles Raiderette cheerleader. We agreed to continue the conversation at a later date. It turned out that Cindy was of Irish and Mexican background. The combination of the two made for a fiery and sometimes unpredictable personality. Suffice it to say that she wasn't exactly shy. She was a very caring person, but she was also very sure of herself. Those traits, in combination with her intelligence, are probably what attracted me to her the most. But when combined with her ethnic background, it could easily become a volatile mixture. If she became angry with you, apologizing was not an option. Hitting the floor and waiting for her to cool down was a better move. Fortunately for me, I never had to test that scenario. I liked the fact that the only thing predictable about her was her unpredictability. I remember a night we went out for dinner. She requested that we stop in Marina del Rey before going home. She had a specific venue in mind. It was a restaurant that turned into a nightclub when the sun went down. I didn't feel like clubbing, which was fine with her. She told me to wait in the car because she wouldn't be long. I was pretty sure she wasn't going to rob the place, so I didn't mind being her wheelman. Less than 30 minutes later, she emerged from the club with the winnings from a wet t-shirt contest. Although she looked terrific in a wet t-shirt, it was more important that she had a great personality to go along with her good looks. Aside from being extremely outgoing and fun-loving, she made everyone around her feel good. She had the confidence to know that if she entered the contest, she would win. I had a feeling that she could succeed at anything she really wanted to achieve. She validated that feeling when she decided to enter the Miss Long Beach Grand Prix beauty pageant. Technically, you had to live in Long Beach to enter the pageant. Cindy lived in Van Nuys, about 30 miles north of that city. But what the judges didn't know wouldn't hurt them. So, several days a week, I would pick her up at Raiders practice in Inglewood, and we would hit the 405 freeway south to Long Beach. What made this almost daily routine interesting and sometimes hair-raising was the fact that she didn't have time to change clothes before we hit the road. My car became a changing room of sorts as she manipulated her Raiderette clothing off and more conventional clothing on. Since we were on a freeway, most people didn't pay attention to what was happening in my passenger seat. On the other hand, long-haul truck drivers driving 18-wheelers paid very close attention to what was happening below them. When you drive for a living, driving becomes second nature, and you look for interesting diversions along the way. Cindy, displaying her quick-change artistry skills, was a little more than an interesting diversion to truckers. I can't tell you how many times I was almost run off the road when a trucker, distracted by her clothing transformation, came very close to drifting an 18-wheeler into the space my car was occupying at the time. At this point, you're probably wondering what a beauty pageant has to do with me. The truth is, it had absolutely nothing to do with me, until she won the pageant. Remember at the beginning of this podcast when I said that every action you take affects every action that follows? Cindy winning that contest set in motion events that would end up with me doing something I had never done before and have never done since. I didn't see it coming, and she made sure it was a complete surprise. The night before the Grand Prix, they held a Queen's Ball. It was a big party where she was, obviously, the center of attention. I didn't know it, but that was about to change. It was a dinner dance, but to me it was just a dinner because I walked with crutches and had never danced in my life. There came a point when dinner was over and everyone was dancing. I sat at the table guarding her father's video camera as she danced with him. I was happy to play even a small part in this father-daughter moment. My happiness turned to fear when she walked over, took my hand, and said, "Come on, we're going to dance." At that point I had two choices. I could follow her to the dance floor or be dragged by her. Since she had taken me by surprise, I only had time to grab one crutch. I had her in one hand and my crutch in the other. Within seconds I was dancing on the dance floor. Since Cindy was the center of attention, I was reluctantly sharing her spotlight. I can't tell you how I did it, but for the first time in my life, I was slow dancing with a woman. Fortunately for me, those were the days before everyone had a video camera in the palm of their hand. Unfortunately, her father actually had a video camera and taped the entire dance. I never watched the tape. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy that it happened, and I'm extremely happy that it happened with Cindy. But I'm also thankful that videotape degrades over time, and technology has advanced to the point where VCRs have all but become obsolete. Until the journey brings us together once more, take care and stay safe.